this is a matter that you also follow quite closely. In fact, we had a prior conversation ahead of today, and the fundamental issue is the question about where and how the monies were used or expended, and the accountability for those, and whether they were actually used judiciously. There's $3.6 million, and the detail we are hearing from Sam George this morning now.
Alfred, democracy is good.
Yes, indeed.
Democracy is very, very good. Because you see, the only way democracy can be bad is if you remain stagnant and you sit still.
Yes.
Democracy provides that. The form of democracy we've given ourselves, the Constitution, provides that Parliament shall question the use of public funds through the Public Accounts Committee. Now, this committee was sitting there being traduced because their proceedings were getting nowhere. Mm-hmm. And then, as a country, we decided to televise the proceedings in order to put fear into the people. Now, we televised without further action beyond television. So, again, people were getting blasé. They would come and sit there, say whatever they like, and get away with it because there was no follow-up. Because the Attorney General may not be doing the things he or she is supposed to do at any point in time. But I'm saying it's good because it enables sunshine exposure. Mm-hmm. So the committee sits down, George, Honorable Sam George, asks a question about the media component because he probably is on the communications committee, so he knows. Mm-hmm. But, my brother, I pass through Legon campus virtually every other day, and I'm asking questions about the air conditioners that are hanging in the Games Village. Doing what? $16 million to provide accommodation. We didn't build a new structure. We went and installed air conditioners in existing structures, and we end up disconnecting the air conditioners after the games, and the air conditioning units are hanging there. For what? How do you account for that $16 million? The entire African Games has to be investigated. The enormous amounts that have been committed to public procurement, opaque public procurements made in the dark, public procurements that need to be questioned very deeply because I'm sure most of them were done on sole sourcing basis. The abuse of sole sourcing in this country. 3.6 million is the least of what has gone into this situation.
Really?
I am asking about the 16 million that went into the accommodation. Who were the contractors? Why was the decision made to install air conditioners in buildings that were already existing? If they didn't intend to continue using the air conditioners afterwards, how are they going to now deal with the air conditioner problem? The renovations that were made, we have been told, are $16 million. How are they now going to sustain that money that has been committed? Mm-hmm. Are they going to take those units out and sell them as scrap or to be used by other entities? Or what was the end game? What was the plan when $16 million was being invested in existing structures? Can they tell us why they didn't invest $16 million in a brand new structure, which could have then been leased out afterwards or run as a hostel to recover that $16 million to the state? Did they just decide that we can spend $16 million anyhow and get away with it? Because you are getting away with it, and the way you are getting away with it is that you have actually destroyed the integrity of the structures that are there. You've dug holes in the walls and installed air conditioning, which you have now disconnected. Of what use is it to the people of Ghana? How much have we spent so far? You are talking in excess of nearly $300 million on the All-African Games. It's public games. It's for the continent. And a hosting nation invests in it. You invest in facilities, you invest in the entertainment of the people who come, you invest in their comfort in order for them to put on a good show for the people. Granted. But once it's public money, you invest with post-accountability in mind. You invest that after all the enjoyment, you will come and justify the monies that were spent on it. And that is the process where I'm saying democracy is good. Because through this question to the Public Accounts Committee, the door is now open for Ghana to question all the other expenditures that have been made. My particular concern is about the expenditures on the accommodation, because up to now, I don't understand why they didn't put up a building.
From the $16 million.
But that's what we've been told, unless I'm wrong, that $16 million was spent on the Games Village. And that Games Village is existing buildings.
These are hostels of the University of Ghana.
Thank you.
That, they modified.
Thank you. How did they modify them? By installing air conditioners, which they have now disconnected. By installing air conditioners, which they have now disconnected. The air conditioners are not available for the use of the students who sleep in those rooms. And the students are still paying for the hostel facilities, for the use of those facilities. So those people who came there for 3 weeks used the air conditioners for $16 million for 3 weeks use of air conditioners. So now what are you going to do with the units that are hanging on the walls? So let us be clear. The abuse of public procurement has gone on for far too long. And later on, when we talk about the manifestos, the Great Transformational Plan, Alan Chemati says he's going to cancel public procurement sourcing entirely, because it is a major source of corruption in this country. You go into the All Africa Games, now you are talking about names for food that you don't want to mention. Inevitably, if you've heard the names, it may be right. Because what happens in this country is that people with access to the facts may not speak for themselves, but will come out and pass them through channels which they believe are credible. So if somebody is passed a name to you, then the person may be present at the point where the contract was being made, or at the point where the monies were being disbursed or received. And the person may feel that they don't have enough or of an interest in something that they've participated in, and therefore they must expose it. So the question, if people have received sole sourcing contracts that have been inflated, overblown, and have not delivered value for money to the public in respect of the All African Games, everything should be investigated, brought to light, and if there's been if there's anything to do with people being miscreants in this matter, they should be prosecuted. They should be prosecuted, because it's a lot of money. And the stories that are coming out are terrible.
Indeed. And
just so that we're talking about what should be investigated. Even accreditation tags. Yeah. Accreditation tags for the games cost us $4.5 million.
Just for the printing of an accreditation.
From, the minister was compelled to give us some kind of information, and now people are bringing documents.
So you have seen it.
So we have documents. We have documents to show $4.5 million was used.
Let everybody be forthright. Yes, the people holding the information should just step out and give the information. It's as simple as that.
They should publish
people have the information. If there is no doubt about what went on, people should step out and give the information out. There's nothing proprietary about information to do with the conduct of the All Africa Games. It's not security.
No.
It's not a security event. It's not about the security of Ghana. It's not about the purchase of arms. It's not about the defense of Ghana. It's about providing entertainment for all the people of Ghana. Now, behind that entertainment process was commitment of public funds. The public deserve to know how those funds were committed, why the funds were committed, and the purposes to which the funds were committed. And the public have a right to assess for themselves whether the monies were committed properly. The public have a right to that. In the end, if there is nothing untoward in there, the ministry is absolved, the government is absolved. But why should you allow speculation to go on? Why should you allow the institutions to drag the information out of you? Now here is the Honorable Sam George telling you that the more information, the little in bits you are giving, the more he's dragging you out. When that happens, credibility goes down the drain across all fronts. So it is in the interest of those who are holding the information, if they want to remain credible in the public space, to release the information ahead of time. Now that questions are being raised, and to tell us the reasons behind the decisions they made, why they made those commitments. And in particular, I want to know who decided to commit $16 million to build a games village which already existed.
Right, and also the $15 million has been reported as money spent for feeding the athletes, $4.5 million for accreditation. And so on.
And 16 million
and 16 million for accommodation, and this $3.6 million we're talking about. So that's just, in fact, all the amounts mentioned, this $3.6 million is actually the list. So you're right, it's the list of all the amounts mentioned in here. And so what's going to be the next step for the Public Accounts Committee with all of these amounts? For a quick one.
I am afraid it's gone beyond the Public Accounts Committee. Now it is a matter of public interest that the government, through its agencies who handled the event directly, come out boldly before the people of Ghana and tell us, account for what they've done. Because they've taken the plaudits. They've happily accepted Africa, telling them that they are the best destination for sports. I hear they've even applied to do another event in 2030 or something based on this success.
Oh, well.
You understand?